B and C, be ready in season analysis, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a great thing.
Yeah, every time I see you wearing one of them. Oh, bullfighters. These are, I think these are. Yeah, because they smart. Taking them all my life. And having smarts. That's what it's. No, so after the war was done, just reading that, you're stuck in the war. I was just, I had it, I was just. I was doing it.
Yes.
I'm gonna. I like that. I could not find
A little bit sounds
Okay. I saw his name on there. I didn't want to do
I'm sure it's fun.
Yes, you do. I think this. I would.
I read the, you had already sent the change resolution.
I think it's gonna be. We'll be the only holder. I don't know if I like that. I think we'll be the only.
Okay, so. Right, on the back. We don't start on that. And it's not gonna come up.
I don't think they. But crazy kids. looks like it's 6 o'clock and we're going to call the meeting to order. I think let's try to do this in the proper order this time. We're going to establish a forum. Mayor Candy Cargill is here. Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Moore Jr. Councilman Ryan Moses.
Present.
Councilman Rodney Drillkill.
Here.
Councilman Davey Jones Jr.
Present.
Councilman Bobby McClung. City Secretary Colonial Alex is on my side. City Administrator Warren Extra City Attorney Kentucky. Finance Guru Sharon Martinez. Terry Quantill and Danny Malcolm. All those people are in the audience and in the report. So, good. Kelly and Alex will offer our invocation.
Stand. I'm gonna pray in my way and I will continue to pray in yours. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to serve this community. Grant our council wisdom in their decisions, clarity in their discussions, and unity in their purpose. Help them act with integrity, humility, and compassion for all they represent. May the work done here tonight serve the good of our city and its people. Amen.
One day under God, one universe.
Important. We know today as the day after Texas Independence Day and our great right to vote day. So if you haven't voted, you can rush out to the polls before 7 o'clock. But it is also National Women's Day, not to be confused with International Women's Day. That's 3/8. National Anthem Project Day, National Dress Day, World Wildlife Day, and National Sandwich Day, which is unofficial. You may have received in the mail a postcard that mentions that our post office is moving and we have 45-day window to make comments to this address. I suggest you do so. They had either we can have a full service post office as we do now, or it can go down to the retail, which will just sell stamps, and our mail will be come from somewhere else. And I don't know what would happen to the mailboxes. I was querying them on that and didn't get a direct answer of how would go with the not so anyway, do what you can, because this is one of those times when your voice truly does mean something. A reminder that Founders Day is March 28th. We know it. We'll have free pants. We will have the Great American Grass Off, and in conjunction with KDB's event, Friday, April 10th and Saturday, April 11th. Vouchers must be provided at the gate for entry. The vouchers up at the city office. Is that not correct?
That is correct. We're printed off today.
And then the same thing with the KDB river cleanup. That'll be on the 11th. I told Katie I would help her do the river last year, and then I saw that she was in a kayak and I was right up there.
The Lions Club.
Oh, really? Where?
In front of the fire building.
Oh, yes, that's
In
right.
front of the barn.
You got to talk to them. I got plenty of work time. Everybody have an overview. This is the same thing. Yep.
This is the detail of it.
We're still in a burn ban. And now I am going to hand this off to Councilman Plum to talk about our survey that we completed.
Yeah, the master plan project
What you like us?
has been posted on, I believe if it's not on the website, yes, it could be there
And there's some copies up here.
very soon. The results of that Show Us Your Blanco survey. And I'm pleased and impressed with all the input we got. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but, nature is Blanco's anchor was a common theme. Small is a feature, not a description. There's another category that rose to the top. Local businesses equal community glue. And Blanco's a place for human moments, stewardship and beauty is preservation. So it's interesting that now the second survey has just been released on the master plan portal. I assume that will be linked to the city website as well. This came out this afternoon. And it's where the meat goes on the bone of what we want to see Blanco over the next 10 years. It's got some interesting, it also shares what came out from the first survey, but it's, what kind of businesses we want housing availabilities, healthcare, and people can set priorities. It's kind of interactive. It's got these graphs. You can do a slider right to left on how strongly you feel about one priority over another. So it's a good interactive survey. It'll be up at least for the month of March. And we'll make a determination towards the end of March if we need to go in another couple of weeks. As the mayor said, Founders Day is coming up March 28th. And we will have a table at Founders Day with some hard copy surveys and try to get as many people as possible to fill out the survey. One final thing too, that we're in a draft of some of the important, back up to this, what's important in this master plan to be successful when we do our land use map and set future goals as we define a vision for Blanco and kind of recognize what Blanco's superpowers are, which will lead to a bulleted list of guiding principles. So as Blanco makes future decisions and future councils make decisions about things they want to do or don't want to do in Blanco, the question would come, does it follow the guiding principles that the community agreed on?
The superpowers are easy.
That's right. We got 3 drafts of the survey. Oh, and this has already been distributed to what we're referring to as the stakeholders of this project. There's 28 to 30 people that have volunteered to give their time. You were emailed, anybody on that list were, and I believe the council was emailed the first draft of this. There's a second draft that's about to become, just kind of distill some of the vision statements that we have, and I'll finish. I'm almost through, I promise, Mayor. We got 3 drafts, for example, of the Blanco vision that talks about what, how, and why. And so I'm just going to read one sentence from each of the 3. What is Blanco? Blanco is a timeless hill country town where river, history, and generations of families shape a deeply rooted sense of place. Now that's just the what from the draft number 1. Draft number 2, I'll read the how. How, through thoughtful support of local businesses, water gathering, and nature-connected design that strengthens community life. That's the vision of how does Blanco keep that Blanco-ness. And then from the third one, just to spread it out, I'll read the why. Why do we have the what and how? That's to protect and perpetuate the unmistakable magic of Blanco for generations to come. So that gives you an idea of what these 3 drafts are like, and with some input from our stakeholders, we will land on a draft. And that will lead to the superpowers. I'm not going to read all those, but a river runs through it. Historic downtown is more than a square. Makers and entrepreneurial spirit. Nature as an everyday backdrop. Places that keep us together. Living layered history. It's the heart of the hill country. engage, steward-led community. And so that's some of the superpowers that on this show us your Blanco survey. Then the guiding principles, I'm not, again, just gonna hit the main topics. Protect before you transform, design for residents first, treat water as identity and infrastructure, keep it small, layered, local, and measure success by continuity. So those are the those are the topics of the guiding principles that we'll look at in future decisions about Blanco. But please support this. Please get involved. Read these drafts. This must be community shared vision. So everybody's feedback is welcome.
Yeah, I believe there's some copies up there. Up there. And speaking of water, I will be attending the 16th annual Central Texas Water Conservation Symposium tomorrow in San Marcos, and I hope to learn a lot of wisdom, bring some wisdom type of life.
May I make one more quick comment? I need volunteers for the Founders Day table. You might have to give up an hour or two to talk about the master plan. By then we can talk about our vision for Blanco in the broad terms I just presented. So, you know, anybody can give up a couple hours or an hour or two on March 28th. Please email me or call or let Kellyanne know.
Yeah, we will go to public comments. Mike Smith, excuse me, Karen Reed.
I have those emails. Just give me a time myself. Okay, I will stare right at it. This is on behalf of Karen Reed regarding the half-cent penny sales tax plan. Hello, I would like to express my opinion on how to proceed regarding the half-cent sales tax that has been used to offset citizens' property taxes. Only if it is required, I feel we should put the issue on the next available ballot. The $13,000 cost is more than offset by the $378,000 increase available to the city budget. With the new calculation costing our average $300,000 home $15 per year versus the previous $150 per year estimate, I do not think citizens will object to giving up this credit for property taxes in exchange for giving the sales tax to the city to provide the services we need. If it is not required to be put on the ballot for citizens to vote this change, I prefer the city council to make this change by their vote and save the $13,000 cost of a ballot proposition. I would like to see if we can avoid another election cost in the future by writing this change to be made in perpetuity. I also do not think we need to designate this amount to be spent on roads, etc. I would prefer to have the sales tax money used as other sales tax money is used. I would prefer the council in the future to be able to set the budget as they see fit to meet our needs. Thank you.
Mike Smith. He's talking about a lot better than that.
Okay, here we go. First of all, I'd like to thank the city for changing their website. I'm not overly computer literate, and it is user friendly, and I appreciate the work y'all put in on it. Kudos. Secondly, I want to address old business item number 1, reconsider short-term rental at 303 Chandler Street, Pittsburgh Community in Blanco. Our short-term rental ordinance 2022-0005, Section B, Item 6 states, STR, if granted, will not result in permitting more than 10% of the dwelling units in a city block or similar geographic area. The intent of this provision is to preserve the community aspect of our neighborhood. There are already 2 STRs in this city block, yielding an 18% saturation. Adding a third STR will increase this area to 27% short-term rentals. I truly believe this is not the community we want in Blanco or want Blanco to be. If you pass this, you'll set a precedent, and we could lose 297 dwelling units currently available to our citizens. And I'll ask, how would you feel if you had 3 properties adjoining you in short-term rental. Please don't allow this to happen. Lastly, I'd like to thank all Campbell Council members for your service, and I appreciate it. I'll also ask that you be frugal and cancel the May 2nd general election. The sales tax referendum can be on the next ballot. Be good stewards of our money. Thank you.
Susan Del Real.
Good evening, my name is Susan Muriel, and I live on Academy Street next to Alfred, denied the short-term rental permit for that. I want to thank you for your commitment to our city and for upholding the ordinances and regulations that have been put in place to do it right. I remember several years ago how much time and effort was put into developing the short-term rental ordinance that Lakeville has today. There were meetings and hearings and revisions and compromises and more meetings before the ordinance was finally approved. By following the provisions laid out in the ordinance with your vote last month, you ensured our neighborhoods and communities continue to be private areas that are family friendly and serve the people who live and work in Glenville and surrounding. Once exceptions are made and variances are granted, ordinances lose their worth and cities and their representatives use the power to govern what they've been elected to do. I understand people don't always agree with or like rules and ordinances, but that doesn't mean that they don't have to follow them. I'm guessing the provision that limits the percentage of homes in an area that use short-term rentals is the most contentious part of the ordinance. But from the standpoint of someone who actually lives in a neighborhood, it's probably the most important. Again, I truly appreciate your holding the next permit request and thank you for that problem for the deadline.
Deborah Sappel. Blanco View.
Thanks for everything. My name is Deborah Sappel. I live in Seattle Springs. And last April, I opted to volunteer for the Keep Lakeville Beautiful for the truck shop. And I really had a great time cleaning it down. And somehow something got out about the fact that in my previous life, I did landscaping and installed lots of fancy homes projects, and I love to garden. I don't get to do that because it's very but I have at home. So Greta invited me to work with Keep Lakeville Beautiful, and I started volunteering with the crew, which was a really amazing group of people. I had to write that down. Steward led. You know, those of you who go into the park know there's a wonderful group of stewards that have been taking care of it for many, many years. So I am honored to be part of that steward-led community, keeping the park a part of town, but not all of it, but fortunate. So earlier in November, I was elected to the executive director for Lakeville Beautiful. So I will be learning the process, what it takes to keep things going. So I know Kylie Ann had questions for me already about the trash off and what we're going to be doing, and I am working on that. May not be perfect this year, but we'll learn. Kids already volunteering, and so we should come up and so I look forward to working with the Lions Club and setting that up. But I just wanted to introduce myself. I've spoken with Warren. You know, we have this plaque back here for the Governor's Community Achievement Award. We've got a big project we need to work on. $90,000 is donated to the city to enhance a portion of it by TxDOT. And in order to do that, we need a maintenance agreement with TxDOT, which I know you council members are going to have to work on, I believe, for us to get that. Warren is working on it, but it will be a very important key to us moving forward with TxDOT to get the project. So there's some things we're going to need to work on. You'll see my face more and more. So I should at least introduce myself. Today, I look forward to working with all of you and let you know that right now I use my current email, but I will have an email for as executive director to Keep Lakeville Beautiful soon. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Carol Reed. Right back. You take the Karen? Is that
I'm with
Karen? Is that Karen? Do we have a Carol Reed? We're gonna say that she's not here. Carol Reed going once, twice. Then we stop. June Newhouse, I know she's here.
Hi, the council, thanks for being good council colleagues in the city. I think the most important thing that I would like to bring up is that residents should be way above tourism and everything else. I live in the little Pittsburgh area, which a few others live there also. And I'm real concerned about how many Airbnbs we're getting over there. I live directly next door to one, and great people are there every single weekend and halfway through the week. It is the busiest little house I've ever seen. And they're pretty good. But sometimes there's 8 and 10 cars there at one time. A little tiny street that is more like a trail than a street. And I just hope that we can keep it to the bare minimum of the Airbnbs that we have in there. And I understand that it's coming back up, and Chandler House would like to be an Airbnb. Well, what about people that would like to live here and work here that can't even afford a rental house, much less own a house? But then you bring in a bunch of other people from all over the place that are here for tourism. Well, that's great, but what about the workers? What about the people that pay taxes? I think that we need to really take a long consideration for as few more Airbnbs as can come into this town. I don't want to be afraid of this word. It's a tough one. I don't want to live there. I want to live in Blanco. It's a nice, small town. And I'm running out of time. I just know that I could just keep on talking. Thanks for being a good council and listening to my gripes. And I'm just not the only one in town, but a lot of people don't want to stand in front of the city hall. Well, I don't mind it, but please keep in consideration that Little Pittsburgh is an old historical area on the map. And it'd be nice if we just stayed that way. We have one historical house in our neighborhood, Annenthal. And I'd like for it to just stay quaint and nice like that. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
And Dave Smith.
Thank you, council. And many of y'all, appreciate y'all's time. I'll be quick and concise. I do have 3 other people that I'm representing as well. Happy to provide emails or text chains that support the discussions that are about to be had. I live in the Pittsburgh area. I know that there are ordinances regulating whether or not they have certain amounts, 10% as Mike alluded to. I'll keep that in reference to that at your leisure. I'm opposed to another short-term rental in our neighborhood. I understand people are trying to make a living, trying to generate income. However, with June's comment about it being a historical area as well as a long-term history of, our town, I'd like to keep it that way. I have 3 kids, a wife, and a working man. I do my best to provide for my family, and I'd like to continue the nature of our community and our region block, however you want to describe it. As of tonight, if this were approved, that's 3 houses on our block. Again, that's 27%. To me, that seems inadequate and not acceptable. Additionally, I have OJ Armstrong, who lives off of Trainer Street. I have to provide the information regarding that. As you guys know, OJ is the chair of the Capital Improvement and Asset Management Advisory Committee. He is opposed to this. If you are okay with it, he just told me I'd be happy to share that he's opposed to this. Additionally, I have Ginger and Drew Fott, who are my neighbors. I'd be happy to read that quick text chain. I know you were time sensitive here. But as a long-term resident of the neighborhood, we strongly oppose adding yet another short-term rental to our community. I believe we need to follow the code that is in place, which helps limit STRs to a reasonable level within the Blanco city limits. Please do not allow this to happen to our neighborhood. Additionally, I have Lisa and Aaron. They are off of 701 River Road. I'm on 1011 River Road, which you're wondering. They sent me an email. We are writing to you as residents of the house of River Road. We are living in Blanco because of the peacefulness of this very neighborhood, and we are against there being another short-term rental. Thank you for your consideration. I know that was a lot. Thank you for your time. Again, we are opposed to it. We want to preserve community, history, and spirit. Thank
Thank you. Yeah, on to proclamation. Texas Independence Day proclamation, and this is important to me because my parents were married on Texas Independence Day. So, whereas on March 2nd, 1836, the citizens of Texas courageously declared their independence, forging the legacy of freedom, resilience, self-governance, and whereas Texas Independence Day commemorates the bravery and sacrifice of those who fought to secure the liberty and establish the principles that continue to guide Texas today. And whereas the people of the city of Blanco proudly honor this historic day by reflecting our own shared heritage, strong community values, and enduring Texas spirit. I therefore, Candy Cargill, Mayor of Blanco, do hereby proclaim March 2nd, 2026, Texas Independence Day, and encourage all citizens to observe this day with appropriate ceremonies of our great state. Yeah. Now, on March, you heard, it was National Women's Day, but March is National Women's Month. So, whereas Women's History Month provides the opportunity to recognize and celebrate the vital contributions women have made in our nation's history, culture, economy, and civic life, whereas women have played a critical role in shaping communities through leadership, service, innovation, education, advocacy, and overcoming barriers to advance equality and opportunity for future generations. And whereas the city of Blanco proudly honors women of our community whose dedication, resilience, and leadership strengthen the county. I therefore, Candy Cargill, yada yada yada. One last. The American Red Cross Month. Whereas the American Red Cross has for more than a century provided humanitarian aid, disaster relief, and life-saving services to communities across the nation. Whereas the American Red Cross responds to emergencies, supports members of the armed services and their families, collects and supplies life-saving blood, and provides vital health and training. And whereas dedicated volunteers and donors of the city of Blanco and surrounding communities play a critical role in advancing the Red Cross mission of preventing, alleviating, and human suffering in a time of emergency. I therefore, Candy Cargill, Mayor of Blanco, yada yada yada. City staff report, Mr. Estes.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Okay. So, candidate filings, we had that, filings on February 13th. There are going to be 3 candidates, and those 3 candidates, will be Bill Pugh, Matt Burton, and Ryan Moses. So we're really happy to have them in May, not now. So they will be our new council members. So that's very exciting.
I'm excited.
The water plant, this is similar to last month. It's not operating, but we are going to be testing it now. We have Infomark working with a company called West Tech to make sure it operates. And then we're also going to be doing blending. So they're going to be testing that. And then hopefully by around April 1st, we will have a blending approval. And we're working towards a 50-50 split river, 50-50 with Canyon Lake. The idea is that while we'd love for 100% of it to come from the river, I don't know if we're that optimistic that the river can provide that at this point, but we'll start working towards a blending that works with Steve.
April 1st.
Well, that's the plan.
Murphy on April 1st.
That's the plan.
Okay.
And the sewer line update. So I did just talk to our engineer. They're gonna have a pre-construction meeting next week. We've awarded it to AO Services. The council did. We think that the construction will start in a couple of weeks, but I'd rather have a, you know, conservative to say end of the month, say work starting at the end of the month, with completion date around mid-May sometime. So, I'm not gonna be as specific as I can. So blended comprehensive plan update, so Councilmember McClung and the mayor and I met with Langford, who is our grant writer and writing the actual product. 75% plans in November. We'll look at adopting the land plan. I think what's going to happen is they'll go to P&Z first, and then you'll get it right afterwards. So December, and my slide to January, but we hope that you'll have that adoption December. The UDC is written right around the same time. So I've talked to both Brandon Mullane, who's going to be helping us with that process, and the P&Z chair, and I think they want to do the month afterwards. But we're looking at all this work happening at the end of the year or January, February. So you're looking at kind of the comp plan being done first, and then starting the UDC process.
But they're gonna have some, workshops.
There are workshops in
Community
between.
workshops. for-
There's going to be something in April. I think we're going to have something in July. There's some other. I don't have it.
Okay.
There'll be some. And I think what we'll do is we'll put that on our website as well as far as the dates. And I'll consult with Councilman McClung before we do that. But we'll put that.
Since our website picks up on.
Oh, we have a new website. We have a new website. We're looking at this whole process being completed about a year from now. So we're talking about March of 2027. The transportation plan, so similar from what we talked about before, you as council will see a TxDOT services agreement. And I believe that is different than the MMA $90,000 grant agreement that Deborah was talking about with KDD. It's a slightly different, but you're going to see both of those agreements come probably. So we're working on these agreements that will have to be done by resolution. TxDOT requires that. We need to do that before we get an RFQ for planning services. So there will be an RFQ as part of the process, but you as a council will have to approve this TxDOT service. That's your vote. We're going to talk about this a little bit later tonight, but the water pit that was approved in 2024, all the submittals from our previous engineering firm have been made. We're just waiting for them to approve it. After that, then we can actually start doing design. Whoever you choose in April to do the design will be your designer, it will not be our group. So you are moving on, but we are at a stopping point on that, and then we'll start here next month getting the design started. Council will need to appoint a new engineer for this work. And that is it. Thank you.
Financial guru.
The council, staff, mayor. I don't have an update. I still don't have all my statements, so I can't reconcile so many accounts. So, as soon as I get those reconciled, I will send those out. I can present. So
Can you give them the rainy day fund amounts we talked about today?
rainy day fund,
Yes.
485,
485.
and enterprise fund, 110. Yes, the audit, we are close to the finish line. We talked to the auditor today. It is with partner right now. The partner has to review it. If there are no more requests from us, they've got everything they asked for. So we were supposed to have that today, but I hope we'll get it tomorrow. They do have requirements. All the cities, of course, have that. End of the month deadline, state mandated deadline, so we'll have the draft hopefully tomorrow.
And then March 17th, you'll approve the
Yes, March 17th, we'll have the approval. Here at 5 o'clock. Presentation I did last year. And allow you to ask questions. But there's I mean, it's gone smoother this year than it did last year.
Because we don't have a record, and they short.
Oh, that's the hope. That's the hope. And then today, I told Warren just briefly that we received, an email from the state director of information. The Director of Information, Department of Information Resources, DIO. There's a state mandated AI and cybersecurity training, all appointed, elected, and city staff. So everybody is going to have to go to that training. And we coordinate that. I'll send that out to everybody. Right, have it done by hopefully April, late April, early March. I'm early. It's going to be trained. And it's going to be a year thing. I have to report back to the state. So.
The video format.
It's video, it's a 34-minute video. And then, yeah, it'll be a short, very short survey. And then I've got to tabulate everything and report it back to the state. It's going to be on the honor system, but there will be survey. So it will reference some things in the video. Yeah, it's just a short 34-minute video. It's a YouTube video.
It's a survey.
It's a survey.
What you learned from it. So,
Thank you, Aaron.
not a test. It's survey what you learned.
Yeah. In minute 38,
Is that is there now?
no, it will be very good. That's, I think, any questions? I know y'all are looking forward to.
Yeah, just clarity on why the financials aren't ready, just because the meeting's up a week earlier.
Yeah,
right?
the
So
meeting's up a week early.
doesn't have time to reconcile.
Yeah, I don't have
it.
And I know that. It's so much.
Actually, I turned mine in, but I came in Sunday and worked Sunday in counting all my reports.
It was in the latest one.
You're up.
Here. Oh, yeah. I heard you.
I spent most Sunday and yesterday. Most of my numbers, so my officials numbers don't come in today.
Uh-oh.
Till tomorrow. So if there are any corrections to be made, I'll email y'all out the corrections, but for the month of February, we handled, we had a 18.5% increase in service. We logged over 5,000 patrol miles. We focused on traffic enforcement, which resulted in 167 stops and a 93% increase in citations, a 17% decrease in written warnings. Motor vehicle collisions decreased by approximately 67%. We're hoping that will be because of the increase. Officers generated 13 offense reports and 17 incident reports for the month, which resulted in 8 arrests, 10 felony charges, 5 misdemeanor charges, and we cleared 4 warrants. So I just noticed on the actual report section, it says 0 warrants, and then it says no increase or decrease. That should be 4, not 0. We continue to emphasizing community-based policing techniques. That way we can ensure public safety initiatives. Visibility, trust, and early intervention. Lieutenant Griffin and I have been working on obtaining grants, so we've been doing a lot of grant research, working on grant funding. That way we can reduce the cost of the city.
Did you get your little 4-wheeler or the little?
Side by side, I'm still waiting.
That's all, I want to go by the.
Not mine.
Charlie, any questions?
The penalty for, the transients, anymore.
No, we only cleared 4 once this month, the rest were all on some. So 10 felonies and which I'd love to discuss one, but they're open cases, so.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're the right head to ask, but the update on the signage that we were working on text on.
I'll provide an update.
Okay, great. Thank you, Danny.
Okay.
Thank you.
Put the forward.
Mayor and council. On behalf of Ben from Mark, y'all have your January, monthly client reports, I believe we're in front of you. I just have some corrections wherever it says December, it needs to be January, but the data is correct, that didn't change. Keep that in mind. We didn't have any operation violations and no discharges. On that subject, we have 2 empty ponds ready for the rains to come. Pray for rain. We need some rain. So we're ready to keep that. Under capacity. We're at 48% capacity on the wastewater plant, so we got there's some room to work with before we start developing. We are also ready for the April trash off. This is my first time participating in this event. Well, my staff is seasoned in it, and we will continue to work to get that transition taken care of. Good news. I know everybody's speaking. So, the Seattle Springs booster pumps have completed. They've both been replaced. Previously, we've been talking about the $20,000 range. I was able to get them completed and installed for $5,300.
Wow.
So that's good, and we can check that off of the TCQ. On the subject of the water plant, TCQ, what they granted for us to be able to turn the plant on is a temporary permission to turn the plant on, as long as I do not put any of that water into distribution. So the goal is by April 1st to have it running. We're going to pump it to the tank's full, and we're going to stop until we get the parameters that they're requesting. If it's blending mixture, what the blending is going to look like, you know, the different parameters that they're asking for, and then they'll provide their acceptance and permit from there. So that's what that's the update on that. And then in regards to the signage, I have met with TxDOT, and we did order the material that they requested for us to mount the signs. If I'm not mistaken, Chief, we're still waiting on one sign, but we can get the hardware installed and everything at the city limit signs on both ends of town. So we have that located. So I'm looking within the next couple of weeks, we should have the hardware installed, and most of the signs that we have will be installed, and whenever we get that other one, then we need that one installed.
Use the jack brake or the speed?
Both. So I'll have the jailbreak signs, the no engine brake. I'll have one on each side, and then we'll have whatever side you want to use. If you have a preference, on which side, if you want your speed sign, it's digital display, and it just says your speed, and it'll basically show them what your speed is. And each of us, we don't have another one yet. And each of us,
Take the chief's I would want to get a chief's recommendation on that for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, your mayor is taking hold of it.
After reviewing the traffic counts from the solar eclipse event, I would say southbound first, so the north end of town. Because we actually had a higher count of traffic coming headed south than we did north during the solar eclipse.
I come in with the head steam off that hill too.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, and as far as the other sign goes that we have ordered already, I just want to point out the current foreign conflicts going on. There may be a small delay in parts and shipping.
I'm gonna say the one on the bridge over, before the bridge over here. 163 is effective because it catches me all the time.
That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. I think it's very interesting that you, how long can you hold the water in the tank?
As long as we can keep chlorine residual. And if they lose the chlorine residual, I'll climb on top of that.
Okay.
Still maintain the chlorine residual. We can have. Okay, thank you.
The approval of minutes, from January 27th, the approval of minutes for February 10th, regular meeting, and the approval of $1,000 donation
To Good Sam
to Good Sam.
from PSI.
Yeah. That's where Rob Warren and everyone did all the surveys that came through. So, have y'all read the minutes? And are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain and either one or three motions in seconds.
And there, just for clarity, so $1,000 is going to be donated to Good Sam.
To Good Sam.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
It's PSI on our behalf, so
Yes.
it's their money, but it's whatever the city wants to do.
It'll be like there.
That's great. I saw no issues with the minutes, so, I'm happy to move that we approve the consent agenda items 1, 2, and 3.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Continuing with old business. And reconsideration, discussion, and take possible action on approval of new short-term rental Esther's House at 303 Chandler. And owner is Teresa Seidel.
I think we'll do a short presentation and you'd like to recognize Teresa Seidel and speak. So I believe it was last month, we've seen this a couple different times. We had a SPR at 303 Chandler, and if you're looking at the map, strict interpretation would say that there would make 3 STRs basically in one block. And what the STR ordinance specifically talks about is a recommendation. Last month, the youth council voted to deny the STR application. This has been in process since about October. Due to some circumstances, Ms. Seidel, the mayor granted a reconsideration. But that is where we're at. The recommendation from council, the previous approach of council was a denial, so that's what we got. But none of the facts have changed. But Judy doesn't. Thank you.
Teresa.
Sure. My name is Teresa Seidel. For those of you who don't recognize the Seidel last name, Wagner, born and raised here. Family's been here forever. We don't have that many people actually stay at that house because we're asking, because it's a huge house. So nobody wants to stay in a real big house. We have cleaned it up. It's very nice. You go down that neighborhood, there's like 4 properties that are trashy in that neighborhood. The one right across the street from me, it's overgrown, there's trash. The one down at the corner of Academy and Pittsburgh Street, it's got junk all over it. So, I mean, and I live in Pittsburgh Edition, born and raised there. So if they're worried about, you know, their neighborhood and the quality of their neighborhood, they should be looking to clean up their neighborhood for their kids. I keep my property very clean, very organized. And like I said, not that many people rent it. Most of the time it's family members that are coming into town. As you can see from my sketch how huge the house is. I've done lots of upgrades to it and to the property itself. And I'm putting up a privacy fence. Somebody had suggested that I needed to put a barrier between that house and the residential section. So I'm installing a privacy fence along that property line, so it's blocked from the rest of the residents. And I just ask you to please reconsider it. I don't see that it's a hindrance to the neighborhood, and it does bring in revenue. When people do come and stay, it brings in revenue to our county. Thank you.
Did you talk to any of your surrounding neighbors, when you were contemplating the fence?
Yeah, I'm putting it up on the property line. That's what was suggested to be put up on the property line.
And so you pulled a permit,
Yes,
and it's compliant
yes.
currently?
I was told by Warren that he has to pull it back because of site visibility. I was in my driveway looking to back out. My tires are still in my driveway. I have plenty of site visibility. I understand about site visibility. I'm a land surveyor, so I work with engineers all the time. And if I have to pull it back, I can pull it back some, but to me, that defeats the purpose of putting a barrier between me and the other people. Pull the fence back. I have photos, if you want to see photos of the site.
I drove by it today. Yeah, it does drastically change the entrance to the neighborhood because you can no longer see the rest of the neighborhood. But we're not here.
So if I can say something, the STR issue, the fence issue, 2 different issues.
Right.
And the fence issue is not an argument. Fence issue does have to be pulled back. The ordinance says so. Has to be pulled back 30 feet or whatever is flush to the house, because that's required by ordinance. So that's nothing we debate, because that's just what's going to happen. The STR is within their purview. The city is going to require the applicant to pull back the fence. That's just the ordinance.
Any other questions?
Well, I don't mind this starting the discussion. For me, nothing materially has changed. I would like to say to Ms. Liddell that I'm happy that we were able to approve for other short-term rental. This one, it's more than the percentage, I think. It's the fact that we're surrounding one home with 3 STRs and putting 3 STRs on a block, which brings the percentage up. I think somebody said 27%. I've got 25%. I think that's more the issue. And the house is part of that street. The ingress and egress does happen on Academy. And our ordinance was in place when the applicant purchased the property. I will make the motion that if I may.
Yes, please.
Okay, make the motion that we, again, deny the short-term rental application for 303 town.
I have a motion or to oppose the denial? Something like that. I have a motion. Go ahead a second.
Yeah, so, pardon me, Mayor. So, the motion is that council again denies the application for STR 303 Chandler.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of denial? Opposed? Motion carries. On to number 2, and this is really just, we're not taking any action, we're just update on the item. Signs are up, that were in Retta's closet for a few years. And, the riparian zone has been, was marked, by KDB, I believe. And, there will be Katie is bringing some wood to create a fence along that riparian zone, out of cedar. So, you'll be able to tell where is the park and where is the riparian.
So we won't be mowing in the riparian zone.
You won't be, yes, right. I mean, so there will be no, but there will be probably a couple of cuts in it. So you can walk through, and when you, like right now, you can walk into the creek and into Benzell Park, which was the plan all along, right? I think that's what you told me. Wait, okay, that you could walk in the creek under the bridge and because they
Perfect
to
place to go from Bensall Park for kids, to go over there and play while their parents are listening to music. Yeah. It's a good God.
And, if you're a green thumb person, you can use this app that, I mean, I downloaded it and I still can't do anything with it. I'm a brown thumb person. And let's see, what else? What got the little signs out? Okay, yes, that's the update on that.
I did see the flags of the riparian zone and the renditions that were shared in our packets. They look very attractive. I guess one thing was a problem thing for me that we had to take. I just don't think we need a chigger phone right on the square. But I would hope that even inside the riparian zone, the grass is kept.
That was a big chicken habitat.
Yeah. I don't agree we should have a chicken habitat right behind our,
That's part of the education.
that half a block off our town square. So in my opinion, I think I don't have any opposition to, I like to see the fences and the size of the riparian zone. I think is about the absolute maximum it should be. That would work as long as it's not waist high grass, just.
You have my sense of humor.
I thought that came from the people promoting this riparian zone. I actually discussed last week the riparian zone in Benzall Park. Managed.
That's.
And I think this is quite a bit larger riparian zone than we have in Benzall Park. So I would just want to be careful with that. And so it's kids are going to be down there, and we want parents to be comfortable having their kids walk.
And that was the recommendation from the Country Alliance and Meadows was still to be to protect the creek. And then it did not go, it stops at your property. Because I said we would have to get permissions from the entity that had it. Or things that they were gonna start pulling logs out of the creek clean up, and I said, I'm out. So, when you get back to town. So that is really just, no action, it's just update. And so number 3 is consideration, discussion, take possible action on petition to this annotation by Second Echo. And I think we want to move, I wanted to move this into executive session. If that's okay with y'all, we will go on to new business number 1. And this is consideration, discussion, and take possible action on the relocation of approval of the mini food bank from proposed location in Bidwell Park to a new site. It was interesting when I was researching this thing that the food box started in May of 2016 by Jessica McLeod in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and she did the first one, and she basically copied the Little Free Library, and it is now an international thing to do these food boxes. I was going to do a plea with KVD to allow it to be there, and Wendy and let's see, when they decided to blow it off, and we're going to install it back there behind the city restrooms where that big pole is. So it'll just be up there away from, and there's a picnic table there. So somebody wants to do it there, and so if y'all get that, thing on that. So that is that's the update on that one, and they would love to be, oh, I'm sorry, Maggie, you're here. Do you want to talk?
No, just, real quickly, I just really want to thank the city, Warren, the police chief, for supporting this project and for continuing to help us find a place for this. And that it is a community project, and I think that it's something, as you said in what you had written today, that can really be a benefit. So I hope that we can move ahead and get it started.
And what I had written was, what a better way to display the spirit of Blanco truly coming together on common ground. Land that is owned by the city of Blanco for use as a park by deed. Keep Blanco beautiful, doing exactly what their name says. Their devotion is immeasurable, and a group wanting to help with something that may get someone through the day or night. Blanco is always first to reach out and help our own, and this is a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much. That's so well written. Appreciate it.
And I would like, because, and we told you that we would pay to move that house. Thank you. So if, I cannot make a motion. I will entertain a motion.
On new business, item number 1, I'd like to motion that we approve the new location for the food box at Van South Park.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you. We'll get it up.
Yay.
he had seen the pictures and it is finished and ready to go.
It's gorgeous.
Mhm.
She is such an artist.
And, all the restrictions are written very clearly on the back of it, so. Followed off that. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So next is consideration, discussion, take possible action on resolution 2026 R-004, a resolution of the City Council of Blanco, Texas, authorizing a submission of a Texas Community Block Grant Program application to the Texas Department of Agriculture for the Downtown Revitalization Program.
We'll give a quick overview and then we'll let Ken do some speaking about specific changes. So last year we we have submitted this, for, it's a $1 million grant and, we didn't get it last year, but we're going to make some improvements. But this is, we did $150,000 match. We have that for next year. So on the city side, we're good with that, and then this resolution is actually needed to make the submittal. I think it's later this month.
I've had a lot to say. Two-step process of the application. This first step is scored based on all of the income and basically the demographics of the city. Probably didn't get it last year. Our scores were not high enough. But it really doesn't matter what our score is, it's how we rank against everybody else's applying. So we will keep applying. Hopefully we can get the perfection. We have basically laid out the historical district is the portion of the intent. We'll have a grant. So it will apply, it'll take care of our project, which would be the sidewalk for the square. But it really could be used eventually in the district. And, if we get by the first phase, the second phase, it's to look at or a lighting section in this case. Lighted doesn't mean buildings falling down. It can be sidewalk below. Right? So if we get past this first step, you said to go after the lighting. It's all a matter of sport. And resolution says move forward.
Certainly appreciate it.
I'll let them do anything if we don't get the grant.
I'll move that we approve resolution 2026 R-004 for the Texas Community Development Block application.
Okay, we have a motion, do I have a second? And a motion and a second, all those in favor? All opposed, 0. Motion passes. Number 3, new business. Consideration, discussion, take possible action for the certification of unopposed candidates for May 2nd general election.
Mayor, I will be giving my.
Yes, you will. So.
Whichever one. Oh, okay. I had a back there. Yeah, it's 9. Okay, so this basically just certifies that the candidates that are listed on the document were unopposed. So if they're sorry, you can certify that and then you can cancel the election would be the next step. This is the first step, just to certify that they are in fact unopposed candidates.
Required by state law.
Do I have a motion? Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve the certification of unopposed candidates on the May 2nd, 2026 general election.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed, 0. Motion carries.
And we'll correct Matt's name here. We'll make sure that we have it spelled well.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr.
The law does not allow the picture.
Four, consideration of discussion take possible action on cancellation of May 2nd, 2026 general election.
Mr. Moses, need to come back down?
Yes, it does. I guess. Yes. Yes.
Mayor, this is up to the new council here, but specifically, why we're looking at canceling the election, there were two portions of the election. There was the candidates, and then there was discussion of campaign. In review of this, we now have an issue where there will only be those three candidates are going to be selected. It's up to you and the council to decide whether you want to hold the election. But if you have the county run it, it'll be a $30,000 price tag. Or the city could run the election ourselves, but we haven't. City secretary hasn't run it yet, and I haven't supervised one in 3 years. So there is a look at possibly not having the election so that we save money and look at this issue of, I know we all work very hard on campaigning and getting us to a certain point. That is something that you could decide to okay, next year, or you can decide that you don't want to cancel the election. But my recommendation is
Right, and this item that we're on right now is just for the general election.
This is just the candidate.
So the special election is gonna be the next item.
So you can say.
so I'll basically say that for the next.
Say, you know.
Yes, so this one as well as required by the Secretary of State, since the candidates were certified as unopposed, it then allows us to cancel the election, but I do need it writing and something.
And then things spelled correct.
You know. Did I spell Matt right?
So just for clarification, a motion to approve item number 4 does not preclude the discussion of whether to go forward with that.
No,
Just making sure. So I will go ahead and move that we cancel the May 2nd, 2026 general election.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Okay.
We so
That's
fair.
good. Now, yes, congratulations. Congratulations. Yes. So now, consideration, discussion, and take possible action on cancellation of May 2nd, 2026 special election. And I will, take the liberty of being mayor right now and just say, as elected officials, we have a responsibility to balance civic. I can't say it word right now. We have fiscal responsibility. And we strive to be good stewards of our taxpayers' dollars while ensuring transparency and compliance with state law. So we have consideration, discussion, and possible action on cancellation of the May 2nd, 2026 special elections, which is the half cent, Mr. Escovitch.
I already said what I want to say. Said it.
Would you please say it again? You say it so eloquently.
So this is up to the council to make a decision on whether you want to spend resources to actually election. So we worked very hard on this. I recognize that. We're looking at cost. I understand $30,000 from the county given the money, or the option of having us run this. Other thing I had not mentioned is my real concern, not so much the cost, but it is if there are not as much enthusiasm about voting as a representative of the people or so representative, but is it as representative? So there's a box. That's where
Council discussion.
Steph, did you mention, cost? Cost would be, so both, the ISD, Johnson City ISD and City of Johnson City, I have unopposed candidates and they are not, once they have election. Counties, of course, their normal election is in November, it is not now. They do it on Austin's other things, but, so they would only be working with us, to mean that we have a full price like $30. Other option is that the city could run an election, but Council hasn't done it, I have not supervised one in 3 years, so that is where we're at. So we couldn't, but that is the option.
And there's still the financial cost in that, in acquiring everything that we would need to.
All right, we haven't started the process.
We voted 7-7 for 2.5 weeks. So we had overtime there. The last time we did one back in 21, I thought.
We did it in 22.
Yeah, it was, I thought the numbers I remember was 7,000. 8,000. County annex, check down area over 5 feet, so it wouldn't be over. I need to check that. Let me check the early voting calendar. I'm thinking that it's 7-7, but I was surprised to see maybe it's just the South Annex. I'd like to make a couple of comments. I can't disagree, none of us can disagree with the fiduciary responsibility. But we discovered the possibility of getting a couple $100,000 or more in the city coffers. I think that's the fiduciary duty. I also agree that it doesn't make sense to take it to the county. For the 14 years or so I was on city council, the city election at the city office, and I think this one would be much easier. I do know we have $10,000 budgeted for this election. I think for about a quarter of that, we could probably get some election supervision from an experienced election judge and the volunteers here in our community that have run elections. Probably use a portion of what we budgeted. And the thing that drives me on throwing this out here again, we have worked really hard on this. And if it passes in May, the city doesn't benefit from any of that increased revenue until third quarter. So if we don't do it this year, then we're looking all the way to 2028 and basically stepping away from $300,000 or $400,000 a year potentially. So I don't. It seems like we could get some assistance to Cali and city staff without much effort and hold this important election. That's my opinion.
The only question I had, and this might be staff, Kellyanne, if we were to tag it on to the next election, what would be the first available election that could, other than doing a special election in-house? So it could go on.
It would be a special election. Have costs associated with it. So do we kick the can down the road or the road?
I'm just that's for informational purpose. Maybe November, okay.
We have plenty of time for public education too, because I don't think the public, there's kind of divides still in my family. I know it's simple, but there's things with numbers switch, and I don't know that I could explain it to someone in a manner where I could sell it one way or the other. It's pretty straight ahead. It's 40.0005 assessed value, and it's on every product text what their credit is.
Except we didn't understand it until our last meeting.
Right.
I'm just pointing that out because
Yeah.
it's on all of our bills, but none of us up here knew what it was until noon that day.
I think that's fairly small excuse about it. We've got between now and May to educate the public. We've got a couple of public town hall meetings, public forums, thanks to Councilman Moses. I think it's pretty clear. A lot of people concerned about what they're giving out are now. They're looking at passing on a 10 to 15 to 25. Yeah, that's out there. I would certainly say if we're not going to do it, then I would like to see it mandated that we do it as soon as possible. Consider a November election. This is really important. And we're pushing already to 2028. If we just think, and we have $10,000 in the budget, I'll just repeat that. I think we can get this done for $20,000 get some assistance. Callie, Ann, and Warren, hire someone to run this election. Election judge. Tim, when do we have to make a decision one way or another?
You could, I think in August officially, however,
About what's on the agenda tonight?
tonight you you need to make a decision now.
We can't do it on the 17th.
Well, you could, I'm
That's why
sorry.
I'm asked.
You've called, yes, I'm sorry. You've called the election.
Sway, let's try not to sway this one.
I'm not-
If I can sway this one way.
I mean, I am being asked from the county for a definitive answer.
Correct.
Because we have that pending contract with them. So I mean, they
I
called
don't think
me,
it's worth $30,000.
they called me today again and asked.
I would prefer to postpone this election than pay $30,000. But I think it's absurd to think that it costs us $30,000 or even the $10,000 we have budgeted.
Well, you could vote tonight, for example, cancel it altogether. You could vote to a motion to postpone it, and keep it alive, to postpone it to the November election, with the understanding that your future council can reverse that at a later date. But it would be on record and it'd be sitting there, and your administration would be obligated to bring it back up here, confirm it, because you're gonna need to change the order from a county. Well, at that point, county would be running it, so we'd probably keep it the same. If you decided that the future council decided not to reverse it. So you could do that.
We could also, and I would so move, cancel the agreement with the county. So we're not spending $30,000 on any election. And we could look at what would it cost us to get assistance to, if the staff doesn't feel like they can man an election like they have for decades, then we can look at spending some of our money that's already budgeted towards holding this election with some assistance, administrative assistance.
You could do that.
I so move. Yeah, I move that we cancel any agreement with the county. We took it out of the budget, and it's not responsible for us to spend $30,000 on this special election on a half-penny sales tax. But I think it's critically important to this community to get serious about doing something about this. So my second part of that motion is that we keep alive the idea of seeing what it will cost us to get some administrative support for the city staff to pull off a free and fair election.
So you're kicking the cancellation question to March 17th.
For the sales tax election. For first part of the motion is.
Is that time still work?
That's fine, because you've already got an order for the election in place. It's just a question, you're canceling the party that's running it.
Yeah.
So on the 17th, you will take up the question of following through and appointing the city secretary to run the election, or whomever else would choose. Normally, it would be the city secretary. So that would be fine. I mean, you could decide on the 17th.
Who we used to use? Since 2023.
Well, I was on council before, it was always the city secretary, but that was just a normal process. And I don't necessarily think it's one of the burdens there, but I do think, it was Bobby Malley that did it. She may or may not be available to come in.
City secretary did before, but then you have an election judge. And like Councilman said, we can have some people help us. We have the ability to do that. So it's the city secretary's responsibility.
But she can get assistance or
We'll get her.
from
people that have done
Done
it
deal.
before.
That's not a problem. We will,
You
decide on the
you have
17th.
to count, but there was a level of liability.
I'm sorry?
Well, it wasn't there a level of liability that we were going with the county, having counties running?
Alleviating that.
Yeah.
We're removing that by canceling that contract.
Right.
that portion. But you're taking up the question of appointment and proceeding. You still haven't changed who's gonna run the election. You're just canceling that for now. That's what I'm hearing. And reserving the question of who's gonna run it for the 17th.
But to the mayor's point, I think what she's trying to say is part of the reason I think that we had gone to contracting out the elections outside of the city was to keep the city insulated from any criticism that possibly could come from the public, that there was somehow something nefarious going on with our voting.
That was one reason. The other reason was the incredible amount of time it takes for the city secretary. Basically, a bunch of people, they're finishing soon with it.
So part of that, if we do this, and cancel the current contract with the county and push it to the 17th for the decision, is the option to cancel still available on the 17th? Like it's not, we're not too late on that. So,
Yes.
I mean, it seemed like it would be, certainly cancel the county. We don't need to spend that money, but then get a real analysis on what it would look like if the city does it. And then we can make an educated decision on if that makes sense or not, right? Which I think that's
In
what-
addition to that, I'm not so sure statutorily we couldn't cancel it before early voting starts. I think we've already approved the election, so we can pull the plug on it likely as long as we're. I don't know if there's any reason to wait. We got a little bit of time to see what it would cost. We can run the election. I do think.
I'm not worried about learning up on it. My concern that I had spoken with Warren about was community representation. Because it's already hard enough to get people to vote when it's a non-mayoral election. So now you don't have candidates involved anymore. You have one item. And just getting full community involvement, I was, hey, if it is adjusted and we just kind of adjust fire a little bit and move, does that give us more feedback from the city of Blanco on what people, because it is an amount of money, and if it doesn't pass, if we don't have full representation, then we're not getting that money.
I just want to make the point that council has already decided this election, this special ballot, special election is happening. I agree on that. It's happening. We also agree, it sounds like it, we agree that we don't want to spend 30,000 to do it. So, I mean, I'm personally, it seems, I know I've been on the other side of this, but it would seem advantageous for everybody, including Councilman, to me, if you disagree with me on this, Councilmember McClung's, drive to hopefully, I think their hope is that this passes, this bill. I just think the best case scenario for it would be to be on a ballot with some other candidates or other pending issues so that we've got some energy. I don't know who it helps if it's the only thing on the ballot and it's done by city staff. I don't know if it helps you or if it would, I don't know who that helps.
I'm not sure. There is the argument that it would be fine. That it's a special election with a single referendum that is frankly very important to the city. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. There's others out there.
No, I understand.
That we didn't even, the city as a city didn't realize that we were starving the city of this potential $354,000 until about a year ago. I go, wow, this is going on. And so I think we're doing a disservice to the citizens. And also, if it doesn't pass or if it's underrepresented, we're not precluded to put it on the very next ballot. So I don't think there's been those, I feel, even those on this council, I felt like I had to argue uphill, pushing the rope uphill just to be able to take this to the voters. And it just seems that, to me, it seems like a bit of a bait and switch. We've been working for months, or I certainly have been This is important, voters. I've been trying to talk to some folks sitting at this table. We've got to take this to voters, and then we pull it across representation.
Well, is it the most democratic way to put forth this issue, which I agree with you, is important.
Well, in our vote, don't even want it on the ballot.
I fully recognize my previous vote at our last meeting, but, you know, my vote was colored by the fact that we didn't have all the information until that day.
You know, we have plenty of time to educate the public. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any, how many people do you think would participate in such an election here in Blandon?
75.
I think that's generous, but yeah.
And we have Founder's Day coming up. We certainly have an educational opportunity there. It's important in the town. I think they're kick the can disease for decades.
I hang up. It's in-house election. I don't like the idea of that. For reasons. I definitely want to keep the measure alive. I want to move forward with it, but there's one thing I won't buy on for it. I would like to see a recrafted of a motion, continue educating and thought of putting on November's election with long, election. Financial cost of doing so would be greater than, what is reasonable, if not wait till the next May election. I don't like waiting, but I do not like the house election.
I mean, if you get a third party person that oversights, it's not affiliated. I'm just.
Many reasons. One of them is optics. It's whether or not we can offer a free and fair election. There's plenty of community members that would probably feel that we can. I just think the optics of it is black, especially since it's a nation where we're asking for more money. I'd be more inclined to support it if we were just trying to keep an election in house for our candidates. Somebody's pocketbook, but for something that has implications, such large implications financially, I really would like to see a larger voter turnout for it. I do believe he's right. Voter turnout, we're probably looking at 7,500.
That's kind of a normal amount.
Yeah. But our past elections have been pulling 200-300 people pretty consistently on our candidate elections. So I just don't like the optics of it. I think it brings too much question and it puts too much on our staff. Even if we can require a lot of extra time. I know because I watched the 22 elections pretty close, and I watched it on time. Lori had to put in time. She was going. Definitely out of it. How much?
Will clarify my motion that we have between now and the 17th to figure out what the cost may be and how to build some trust that the city is capable of running.
I feel it's fair looking into it. I feel your motion's fair because we still have the option of campaign.
Clarify the motion is to cancel that portion of the contract with the county and defer till March 17th. The question of proceeding with this input from staff and
then coming back with a plan.
Should we defer to the next regular meeting when we have our full council here?
That's April 14th.
April 14th, right?
That would be fine, but we've already approved the election. When does early voting start?
that's pretty close. May 3rd, right?
council here to support it. So.
17.
Second.
I'm here, March.
Meeting is on the 14th. I think it's gonna
What
be
is, I won't be here, March,
I think
it's not likely.
I think it's April 13th, you have to actually start early voting. I'll reaffirm that by March 17th, but because you cut it off earlier, I think it's basically 2 weeks in a day. So you got a Saturday election, not a Tuesday election. So your early voting stops that previous Friday, and you've got 2 weeks there. That runs you into the 13th and 14th. Again, I'll reaffirm that, I'll even do it tonight, but I would not, I'll leave it on your March 17th agenda. And if it works out, then we'll kick it over again, but, hold on.
Are we voting on one?
We would have had this on.
The motion is to cancel. Not sure we can take any other action, motion like that. Have this.
Cancel the contract with the county, but we're not necessarily canceling the election.
And then just request additional information from staff.
And table the election,
No, we're just canceling the
cancel,
contract.
cancel the contract
Period.
and basically tabling. Perhaps that.
You better have that motion repeated by somebody.
We are canceling, my motion is to cancel the potential contract with the county for the election. And to let the, but not to cancel the election and keep that under further review at our next meeting. In the
Our next,
meantime,
our next,
Seventeen. Yes.
and that gives us time, that's the motion. Comment on that gives us time to assess what burden it would be on the city. Can we get some, experienced election judges, and remain in our budgeted amount? What we budgeted for this election. You'd be okay, it's April 20th, first day or May 3rd. So you'd be okay to have it on the April agenda. That's on the Secretary of State website. It certainly gives us time to educate the public and see what they feel, how they feel about having the rights to vote. That's one way or another.
Well, that's all, I mean, that's not on the table, the council's already decided, this is going to be on a ballot.
Right.
So, that's.
The council's already decided it's going to be on the May ballot. That's what's going to come, have to come back to the council if the council chooses to cancel it. Correct.
Is that correct? That's all right.
So are we gonna go, sorry, just to make sure we clarify, are we gonna go with Kentucky's suggestion and go to the April regular meeting with revisiting this? That's a motion.
I'd be fine with that. That actually gives the community more time to decide, do they want the right to vote or not?
Does that, even though early voting would be next week, does that give enough time to? Be ready for it?
I think so. Well, we're gonna have to be ready earlier than that.
Right.
So we're ready for the contingency that you may order it or keep it as is. I think the planning for the city has to be, it's happening. So you say,
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that that just. So.
And maybe we'll have a better handle on that kind of cost before that April meeting.
We will.
Yes.
We gotta clear.
Are we gonna read
Yeah,
it?
we have.
Want to cancel with the city.
Made by.
And I'm taking no action.
Cancel with the county.
Cancel with the county and take no action about the May election.
Until the April meeting.
Regular meeting.
Yes, some future regular. Otherwise tabling till April.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? And a second, all those in favor? Okay.
Thank
Okay.
Oh, my. Consideration, discussion, and take possible action on the termination of Altura Engineering for the engineering contract professional service agreement of Altura Incorporated as part of the DWSRF number 62938 water system approved. Mr. Cox. Mr. Esser.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is something I think we've been working for a long time. Our third was our city engineer, first council has approved, it's the water pit for 2024, the 3 water lines with our CLO and Palomino, and then 9th Street from 281 east. So those 3 water line projects, which equals $3.9 million, be also hired as the consulting engineer to do the design. So where they're at now specifically is we've done all the review, everything, the survey work, everything for all 3 lines, and they submitted everything to our board and the TCP for their approval. There's nothing left for them to do other than just hope by the end of the month we'll get approval to start design. How to start design. So in talking to the director of the Byron Standard for the Bureau, this would actually be a good time to stop. Other thing they want to do is, if we're doing this, they want to be down with the on-call services as well. So in approving this, you would be approving not dealing with them on both the water line and on-call services. And then next month, you could look at hiring a different engineering firm. Probably our current city engineer to finish up the design of temporary water. That's a long thing of saying that we're at a stopping point, and this would not create any real issues with continuity. But we're not really in the middle of anything, submitted everything, we're just waiting for the start. Questions?
Have they helped with any kind of permits that are outstanding right now or not? Are we waiting for anything?
The only thing that we're waiting for with them, and they're gonna finish this part up, so we are still, from the city standpoint, looking at getting our sewer or discharge permit approved. I'll take that over. I've already contacted PCP to try to make sure that they're contacting me and not. So that is where we're at. I think we're at a clean break. And then everything else that we had to do a step a few months ago, already done, submitted, getting approved. So they really are at stock.
Determination.
Yes, sir. And they want it too, by the way. They don't.
I'll move that we approve the termination of the contract with Altura Engineering for their engineering contract professional services agreement with Altura Group Inc. as part of the DWSRF number 62938 water systems agreements.
I have a motion and the second has not to repeat that. Go ahead and say, a motion and a second. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Now, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, we will adjourn to executive session 7:45. We're closing session over. We are at the session, so we can take a at 9:20 p.m. No business was. But we have a, amendment to the motion, I believe.
Yes, I'd like to amend the motion to, discuss the administration of the May sales tax collection from the April meeting and moving forward to the March 17th.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Motion and a second, all in favor? Passes, do I have another motion?
Would you adjourn?
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Adjourn at
one.